What's up, guys? It's John at National Sports Entertainment, and I just wanted to go into our night tonight, as well as I wanted to really go into the storylines of setting up with Kyrie with the Russells. But you can see tonight. So here's an example. There's a lot of nights we'll go like 4 and 5, right? A little below 500, but profit. Tonight we killed it in the NBA. We went 7 and 2, but again it's all about metrics. I picked Tulsa to cover as a like 3. They didn't. So you can see it's not about hitting at 80%, because there's nights we do, and it doesn't always work out. But as you can see, I closed this after. So it's 4 units lost tonight, but 7 in general. And I closed it out. And the reason I do, if you just look at our NBA performance, and again, this isn't going to happen every night, but over time, this is what happens. What balances out. You can see just from the NBA alone, we picked up 7 units, which essentially negates a 3-legged loss. And 3-legged losses, we don't come by that often, especially with the amount of plays we make. Now, Navy Bucknell under and the New Mexico Grand Canyon under, as well as the Notre Dame cover on Georgia Tech, I put out on my community after the video. So hopefully for a lot of people it was a happy accident. But I'm not going to not. I'm still going, like I like to use a conservative metric. By that I mean, if 10% of people played this, then I want to make sure it's in here as I played it, so people can see exactly my log. And that way, when I make my playlist the way I do, every single one, including losses, I'm going to put in here, so they're all accounted for. Because I understand that not a lot of people probably saw those picks, but even if, like I said, 10% of people did, I always like to make sure every single pick that I put out there is, not just wins, but losses as well. That way everybody should be on the same page. So the Notre Dame cover, if you didn't play that, that's good. It's like a happy accident. But if you did, we'll get a good leg 3. I actually have one already, and I'm going to go into them next, because instead of making all these different videos, the college metrics, as you know, there's nothing crazy about them. So on them, it takes me like a minute to run through. Now, this is kind of what we were talking about. Now, it's easy to say this, but on my old channel, and for the people that followed, there's a couple things I found interesting. I had looked into D'Angelo Russell simply because when Kobe played his last game, he was on the team, and Kobe goes over, he celebrates, Russell's there, and then LeBron passes Kobe, and he's got a Russell of his own. And I thought it was interesting. And then you get Bill Russell dying this year. So it's just funny. And then his birthday's 2/23 of all, so it's just funny. That's D'Angelo Russell's birthday. And I don't think it's a coincidence we have all these Russells coming out of the woodwork. But I think the stories that are going to be told are very simple. So while LeBron is looking like, he's on cloud 9 because he passed the scoring title, and he is just being, the torch is passed to him, sent by Kareem. Everyone's saying he's the best. I do honestly think Kyrie has some kind of leverage. Somebody brought this up to me, the idea that he might have some leverage on the league. Now he's with a more free team, and if any of his rights were violated, he might, and that's what he might be saying when he keeps saying disrespected. People are saying, "Oh, well, you didn't play well." He might be talking about something deeper. So with everything going on with DeMar, there might be a reason he's smiling. He might have got what he wanted from the league. And I expect LeBron to look like a bum. He said, when you play with selfless players, who's a pretty selfish player that comes to mind? And LeBron literally said, "Oh, maybe it's me," as far as why Kyrie didn't want to go to the Lakers. So, and then, of course, they just happen to have this deal locked and loaded to land D'Angelo Russell. What I think is going to happen is what we saw tonight. Even without D'Angelo Russell and without Russell Westbrook, the Wolves looked really good. And I think the Lakers are going to... People are asking me. To me, this confirms the Lakers are going to miss the playoffs. So I'm kind of seeing pieces fall into place. It reminds me of earlier, Pat Bev got traded, and within like 12 hours, he requested a trade to the Lakers. I think he was traded to the... I think it was from the Jazz to the Wolves or vice versa. But basically... When that happened, in my mind, I was thinking, okay, he basically is saying, I think it's better for my future, which I understand. Like, it sounds bad, but I understand. to be part of the LeBron James clown show and miss the playoffs than to be a part of a winning team here and make the playoffs. And now that Russ is being traded to the Wolves, I'm even more convinced that that's what Pat Bev did. Basically, probably took a lot more money. That he's going to draw eyes to the Lakers, especially when they're playing certain teams, and next year when I think they make the playoffs. But yeah, I thought that was interesting how quickly he was traded there, and I thought it was obviously just to play the role of almost like mediator, which he did in the beginning between like Russ and the others. But yeah, I think it's going to be a deal now. The Wolves are probably going to go on a nice run. There's like no way Russell Westbrook could fail here. If you think about it, they got Rudy Gobert under the rim. Cat's not even back yet. So now he's on a team where, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he started looking good. And D'Angelo Russell might be the one that looks like he's the one saving the Lakers in a lot of these games. I could be wrong because, again, LeBron's been obviously put in a position where he's producing, as has AD been. But I could see them getting, quote, injured, something of that regard. And then, D'Angelo Russell being a focal point. I also find it interesting he's the guy who snitched on Kobe, and then he left. And then, again, like the night after LeBron passes, the other guy, he's back on he's over on the Lakers again. No, it's all weird. I think we all know it's connected, but I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. But yeah, we had a good night. I think it's just narratives. And I can complain and say, the Raptors, we got clipped by 2 points, and the Heat was a point and clip, and we missed a college because of a half. But it goes both ways. Here is a two-legger that we got. This one stayed pretty consistent between 2 and 2.5. But still, it came down to the buzzer, and it could have been a bullshit missed free throw. You can join whenever you want. If anyone asks, I always put the link, and then I just ask people that come into the Discord, to please just say, hey, it's so-and-so. This is why I'm here. You'd be surprised. People, I ask them, and I send them a link, and they just come in, don't say a word. So, yeah, that's really all I ask. I get people are introverted, but there's, someone's going to join. They want to be a part of it. Just let me know who you are. If I sent you the link, people are clicking on other people's links, things of that nature, then they're expiring. But yeah, here are the Blazers. I think they had to win this game. Again, they need to stay in playoff contention. The Warriors they're going to make the playoffs. We know that. And I think the public was just going to be on the Warriors. So that's probably why they did that clip. And Mavs was an interesting one. Again, with Kyrie playing, I thought the public might have been a little more on them. But it could have, again, narratives reign supreme. So narratives are always going to reign supreme over, the public money, and especially if it's not, some crazy handle one-sided. If they can get it pretty close, then they're not going to care. So I want to go into tomorrow's games. You can see we have 5 college plays, but they are all leg 2/leg 3s. And as I've shown you before, I like Rice to cover Florida Atlantic. The reason I like Rice to cover Florida Atlantic is pretty simple. It's because Florida Atlantic, while not crazy, they are the best team right now in the league against the spread at around 78%. That makes the public more inclined to take them to cover. And again, the 80% is where you start flirting with history. So that's why I like them. Now, LIU covers Farley Dickinson. Same type deal. Only in this case, it's LIU just sucking against the spread. So that's going to be my leg 2 for the New Mexico. That one we missed by half a point, by the way. Personally, I pushed, but I can't imagine many people. A couple might have if they use sports betting. Bovada was 144.5. FanDuel was, I think, 144. It wound up 145. So this is going to be the leg 2 for that one. Again, that's for the people that might have played it. I know not a lot of people played it. Now, St. Francis Wagner here I have as a leg 3. Again, we don't have many leg 2s open at all. We've closed just about all of them. This is for Notre Dame. Again, if you didn't play Notre Dame, then you can make this a leg 2. But, if you play Notre Dame like me, then it's a leg 3. The reason I like this one a lot, it's not just because one's terrible on the over. They're both terrible on the over. St. Francis is, I think, the worst in the league right now. It's 22%. And then the second worst is, the third or fourth worst is Wagner at something like 26%. So it just makes a lot of sense that they go over because people are going to be slamming the under. Merrimack Stonehill, same type of deal, just not quite as bad. So you can see I'm just plugging these in. You know, that's how I do all of these. You know, it's still a pain in the ass to write them all out and stuff, but I do it this way for anyone that's new, and so people can see exactly how I'm closing units or sequences. And the last one here, another leg 2. This is from 2 nights ago when the Magic didn't cover the Knicks for us. We thought they were going to. Last minute, Knicks covered. But anyway, so this one, again, San Diego, very good on the over. And then, obviously, we don't play it twice. So, bam. And here's what we have in play. And you can see how the system works. We just want to close these out. You know, that's the goal. Are we going to close every single one out? No. But the goal is to close 7 out for, well, really 8 to profit with juice. Close 8 out for every 3-legged loss. And you can see we don't have them often with the 3-legged losses. Now, we can chase and do 4 legs, but now you're looking at 15 units. And I think at that point it just gets a little, you know, now you got to start winning a lot. So I think we're going to start. I don't think it's a coincidence we started picking up some fire with the NBA. I genuinely believe with these trades, they're just telling stories. Lakers, I think it's the same story, different year. They're bringing in another guy where people are into, like, oh, now they can't fail, you know? And I think that's exactly what's going to happen. They won't have D'Angelo Russell for this game, and since LeBron just passed Kareem, who played for the Bucks, I feel like as part of his penance, it just makes sense for the Bucks to pound the Lakers tomorrow. So we'll go into that a little more tomorrow, see who's playing, see who's not playing, because I don't really, the NBA, but especially on a shorter schedule, they can move one game, you know, 5-6 points by tomorrow by ruling Joker out here or something like that, which I wouldn't be surprised if they did. This was at actually -6 when I started my video, so right before I when I went to ESPN. So they moved a point in just 10 minutes. So, you know, a lot of times the point movement doesn't mean much. I think it's honestly just like a psychological type thing where they set it to see where they're going to get the most action or something of that nature. I don't think it's because they think the Nuggets are 7 points better exactly than the Magic. But yeah, I don't want to ramble. I just wanted to go into the metrics. We had a good night picking, and it's always good to be over the target, and I feel like for the most part we were. Raptors, that's when I normally would have taken them given that many points at home. I'll be honest, it's like a superstitious thing that I do. If you notice, like, Cavs home team covered, Wiz home team covered, Celtics home team covered. They didn't cover, but they won. So I was running into a pattern, and I'm like, okay, I like the Rockets too. So I'm like, are all 7 of these teams straight? Home team's gonna all win / cover. So that was kind of in my mind, which is kind of annoying because the Raptors, like I said, I think they're going to flirt them with the wild, the play-in. I don't think they're going to get in, but I think they're going to flirt them there, and they have to make them look pretty good. But at the same time, they're kind of like the Bulls. I just don't have a great read on them. So yeah, that one we almost got, but again, I'll take it. We did 7-2. College was our downfall, which again, I'll take that because on the season we've been the best with college. So if we have an off night in college, I expect we'll rebound pretty quick. So we got 5 tomorrow. I'll gladly take 3 of them. You know, even 2 we can work with. That's the great thing about the system. But let's hope it's like a normal day. We get like 4 of them, maybe 5. I think the Wagner game's 2:00. So that's another reason I wanted to get this video out. In case, it's like 11, 12, I'm getting the video out tomorrow and people have an hour to play the games. So I wanted to get it out for that, but I also really wanted to talk about this whole LeBron thing. I think a great future bet would be the Lakers don't make the playoffs. I also believe the Wolves definitely do. Now, that's a little easier now to say because they have a better record, but I've been saying that for a while. When they had a losing record and they were quite a few games below 500, I was telling people they were a draw. Now, again, I might have been off on the Kings. I know I had them dropping like way out. I'm still holding firm that they're going to drop between like a 6 and 8 seed. So, again, I'll concede that, okay, like for them to miss the playoffs, it would have to be like a colossal failure. And they have enough draws to be a top 10 team. But just don't be surprised when all these teams start flipping the Kings and they're not I don't think they'll be a top 5. I think they might be a 6, like a 6 through 8, just because of how close they've kept the West. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I like to reassess things. I'm not going to just be stubborn and say, oh no, despite them winning. Nope, they're going to miss it. Like if they're going to be flipped, they're going to get flipped by a few teams. I do think the Blazers get in, but again, the way they're presenting the Thunder, things of that nature, it would take a lot for Thunder to flip the Kings. I don't see it being the Jazz. I can say that because based off draws, I think the Thunder are more of a draw than the Jazz. But yeah, we'll see what happens with the Kings. I do think they drop a good bit, and again, I like the Blazers to make it. So those are future bets. I would, I don't know if you can take the Kings. On my book, you can't. You can't take us like a seeding or anything like that. You might be able to pick over under on their wins, and based on their pace, I'd take the under. I'm going to see what it's at if they have a live one. But yeah, Blazers, I expect them to go on a little bit of a run here. Mavs is going to be interesting. I might sit back a few games with the Mavs, see what they do with Doncic and Kyrie. Same with the Wolves. A couple of these teams I might. There's nothing wrong with watching a couple games, seeing what story they're trying to tell us with the new guys. That's kind of why I've stayed away from the Nets if I could. I played them. Last night we played them. We did play them the night before. I think we split. I think we got them the last night, missed them the night before. But I think we got them last night. We might have missed them. I can't remember. We might have got clipped on them. We might have actually got clipped by the Clippers. How fitting would that be? But no, there's a reason I like to stay away from those type of games. It's because I feel like if I can't gauge where the public's at, then it just makes me less inclined to play it. But yeah, again, good night. I think the Russell trade is going to be very interesting. The year of Bill Russell, and we have, a Russ for Russ. So that should be very interesting. I've never heard Russell brought up this many times in a calendar year as far as the different sports, but I'm hearing it a lot. And what's being compared to? It's being compared to wrestling, right? So they say they have to get it out there. So I feel like they get it out there in ways where people just, no one's going to pay attention to that little double entendre. And maybe I'm wrong, but they do have, in my opinion, say that they have to get it out there. And we see stuff in plain sight, and they do that on purpose as well. But yeah, definitely, again, just so people can make sure they have the right leg 2 threes. San Diego's leg 2. The only leg 3 is St. Francis Wagner over. The rest of the college plays I showed you guys are leg 2s. So, and the Lakers, like I said, I'm going to watch that one. I'm pretty sure they're going to have the Bucks smash them. But before I make like an official prediction, I just want to make sure I know who's playing, who's not, and what narratives are being spun. And my Super Bowl pick will be out tomorrow. It's kind of creeped up on us. But yeah, I'll do it tomorrow. I was going to put it out today. It just honestly, I haven't read many articles. The only thing I saw was the ESPN handle is showing a lot of people on the Eagles. So I don't know what to think of that. If they're saying it's not rigged, now they're telling us money's on the Eagles. It's interesting. And then Goodell came out and said he basically played his best Vince McMahon. So I can go into that in my next video because that ties right into the Super Bowl. So take care, everybody, and happy earnings.